Well, I don't know how interesting this is to you, but to me it's crucial for this painting. As I mentioned, I became pretty weak on this painting. I always make a point of playing all of my cards on every painting. That means my highest values, my highest chromas, the most intense areas, and I did not do that on the earlier iteration of this painting. Now, of course, as usual, I had painted it, and I probably said I'm going to bring it upstairs and live with it for a while and see how I feel about it. That's what I did. Now, this is what happens when you do that. It's a benefit to the painting entirely, because I lived with it for quite a while in real time, as any potential purchaser or viewer of the painting would do at some point. And I just found the whole thing to be, well, interesting but a bit weak. So what I've done is I have now played all of my cards. I'm not done with my design completely, but it doesn't need a lot of modification. As you can see, I've made this whole area pop, right? And popping was what we needed. Everything I have as far as highest value, and highest chroma is pretty much laid in here right now. So although I can work in other areas to finish the painting, I need to make sure that I keep everything else secondary. Also, the clouds were very fuzzy before, and I mentioned I had a lot of hard lines in here, right? I needed to not make these lines as hard as these, obviously. In this painting, I'm not going to have dark lines around clouds or anything really. But at least the lines of the light to the less light, to the darker, needed to be hard lines, not fuzzy. So I think we're sort of heading in that direction now. I like that for up here quite a bit. Organize the clouds a little more, a little more, what would I say? Maybe naturally looking, even though they are somewhat stylized. Another thing I did was, in addition to brightening the roof here, this building a little bit, this building completely, this very high, as I just mentioned, titanium white, a little bit of yellow ochre, almost pure white here. And what's that? That's cobalt blue and a bit of raw umber and a lot of white to raise the fence. So to raise the strength of the fence. This has now become much stronger. It can hold its own. Not only are we higher values and higher chromas, but we're very close to the high chromas, high values next to very dark stuff, eh? So we have a lot of impact, a lot of drama in the lower third of the painting. Also, our cloud sweeps up to the left very strongly. And I felt it was, I left this side alone, even though I laid a little more light all along here. I laid more light to the left and even brought it down a little bit, slightly, to oppose all of this upward swing on the left upper half, or upper 2/3 of the painting. I still am not going to lay light on the trail, I don't think, because this line of the trail helps to oppose this stuff. But I think I needed to draw more attention to this area. Here can be phased off, but here I think needed a little more, just a little more interest. So, brought it down a little bit, just a little bit, not too much. Pretty soft, didn't want to go too hard because we're pretty soft up here. So, I think what I'll do now is really gonna fall under the category of more or less grooming. So, but the final grooming, step 6, as I like to call it sometimes. once everything's in place, once you have faith in the stuff that you've done, then we groom a couple of things. And that's what I'm going to do now. That's too dark. That's definitely too light. Cobalt blue, cad red medium, and some white, titanium white. Okay, that's more in the neighborhood of what we're after. I could add a little bit of yellow ochre, which is what I've done here. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow ochre. I'm going to warm it up a little bit. I want to break into these clouds a little bit. Not too much, but a hint. Actually, a hint more cobalt blue. And when I say a hint, boy, I do mean a hint. Touch of white. A little more cobalt blue. Now, I should be, well, technically I could add a bit of linseed oil to it. I'm not going to because this painting isn't that old. And as soon as you add linseed oil, you end up with a very smooth and greasy paint, which I don't always like. I'm still trying to maintain a little bit of the show of the warp and weft of the work that's there. But I have too much white, so let's just go back to a little more cobalt blue, because that's a pretty strong purple I've got sitting there. I'd like to cut into this. As long as I become stronger as we grow to this area, as long as we become stronger as we approach this area. Now we can see over the cloud to the back side of the cloud that we're looking up at, and see the dark side on the other side, which is not catching light, but there's still shape and interest there. Otherwise, this whole area was kind of smushy, and let's not be too smushy in too many areas. We're not right at the edge of the painting, so let's try to keep it interesting. Again, smushy. It's smushy is such an accurate and defining term for oil painters. That's too light. Back to the cobalt blue. Back to the cad red medium. There, I don't mind it a bit light because it's sort of, and I don't want hard lines under there. Not too hard. I want them up here. And I want them over these structures. I'm not going to finish the painting right now, but, and I said I wasn't going to take you with me when I was doing this, but I thought, well, it's kind of important to me, and it may help you, so we'll see. This area I'm going to work on tomorrow. I have other things to do tomorrow as well, so I'm not sure how much we'll get into. I love to take you along, but sometimes, guys, like really, I take you along for painting, and the first thing I hear is I have to go to the bathroom, or are we there yet? Or, Dad, he's touching me, or he's pretending to touch me, So You guys, when you're watching this, you have to behave, or I will turn this painting around. And we will go right back to its charcoal stage, to its sketching stage. Sketching stage. Okay, I kind of like that, I will do the refinements where the cloud meets this cloud meets the distant cloud, and back off on the right hand corner as well. I'm probably gonna stay with the dark stuff. I have to groom this edge a little bit. I need to maintain the strength of line in certain areas to compete with this, just slightly, but this already, no, I back up, no, it's too purple. And when it's too purple, it's too high a chroma, and when it's too high a chroma, it appears to be too close. This painting is just killing me, man. Don't think I'm looking for advice, okay? Please don't do that. It's late, and I love this painting. I just want to bring it to completion. Okay, that's getting there. This needs a bit of work. This whole area needs a bit of work. I was very tempted to bring something up into the sky here to fill this space. But since I've raised the values here and made the lines harder, I think I don't need to do that. No matter what, I'm going to stand up and look back at it. Let's say I have a predetermined opinion about this painting. Yeah, I've gone too high a chroma here. My opinion of this painting is that I have already gone in a bad direction as far as a technically good painting is concerned. I don't think that technically I would love this. Or technically I would, if I were adjudicating a show, I think that I would have to say, well, technically that's not a very good, that's not really maybe where you want to end up regarding composition, values, etc. Okay, I think I made it look even worse, which is great, because I don't mind making things look worse. I present myself with a challenge. What I would have to say, if I just came across this painting in the wilderness, out in the bush, okay, no, at an art show, I would say technically that's probably breaking a lot of rules, because we got a lot of strength, and a gap, and a lot of strength, and proportionately, scary. What I would do is say, I'll buy it, because I find it intriguing. And yes, I am actually patting myself on the back, because I just love this painting. The more I play in it right now, I'm loving it. It's becoming very close to what I want it to be. And I think that even though the rules are broken, the rules of design, etc. are broken, if you can break them and get away with it, you end up with a better painting, a much better painting than a safe painting. So yeah, I love it. Grumpy Artist, you did okay so far. There's still lots of time to screw it up, as you can see. Oh, it's probably a good idea that I stop now before I stick my other foot in my mouth. Good night, guys. We will definitely talk to you soon.